from Your Black World and the Black Business School. And I wanted to come in and talk to you guys real quick. And first of all, say happy Sunday to everybody. If you're having a happy Sunday, let me know what you're up to today. Also, let me know what city you're coming from. Shout out your city real quick, or your business, or your dream. Now, give me a second, guys. I'm gonna make sure. Okay, here we go. It looks like you guys can hear me better on that end. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can see me. Let's do a quick mic check. Microphone check 1 2 1 2. Can you guys hear me okay? If you can hear me okay, shout out your city and say yes, we can hear you. That way I know that it's coming through okay. I see Lancaster, California, Houston, Phoenix, Ohio, San Diego. What's going on, Brandon and Chris? And it's Brittany and Veggie. Is that Veggie sister? And that sounds good. That sounds important. You know, I was watching something the other day that actually let me know that we need to eat more vegetables, and I really, really took that to heart, and I really thought about what I was eating and the fact that I need to quit eating bullshit. But anyway, all right, so let's get it cracking. Let's jump right in. Do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, I'd like for you to do that if you could for me real quick. That really helps us grow the platform. You guys know we're taking over Black media, not just through what we're doing digitally. We're reaching about 1 million Black people a week digitally, but we're also going to take over the film industry. We're going to do a Tyler Perry experiment without the Medea dress. So we're going to actually try to take over media by making our own movies, doing all the things that I talked to you guys about, everything I preach about, everything I believe in as far as Black economic empowerment. We're putting these things in motion, and the reason I tell you guys about it is so that you guys can help if you believe in this, if this is something that you want to be a part of. For example, the Dr. Boyce and Alicia Watkins Foundation. We are almost done putting it together. We met with the lawyers. We're seeking the approval now. When we get married in July, we do not want gifts. We do not want gifts. We don't want you to give to us. We want you to give to your people. So we would love it if you would make a donation to the foundation. And let me tell you what the goal of the foundation is. The goal of the foundation is to support independent Black schools, not to go pay for scholarships to big white universities that are overpriced, not to support failing public schools, but for Black people to own our own schools, because that's what we need to do in order for us to get ahead as a community. So if you agree with that mission, if you think that mission makes sense, if you think Black people can and should educate our own children, just give me a yes in the chat. Let me know that we get your seal of approval on that. Just throw a yes in the chat. Okay, so let me tell you guys what's going on here that got my attention. Thank you very much for the kind words. I appreciate that. All right. So here's what I was reading today. I was reading about this whole thing with Donald Trump and the whole situation in Iran. I'm going to tell you all this. This really has me concerned. Nuclear weapons really bother me. I don't think it's one of those things where we can just act like they're not there and act like it's not happening. It's very, very real. And if anybody's ever seen any of the footage or any stories from Hiroshima and Nagasaki, just take Hiroshima times 10. And that's really what we're looking at. We're looking at nuclear missiles that do horrific damage, your skin burning off your body and everything else. And all I can say, honestly, is that if they drop a nuke on anybody anywhere in the United States, I hope they put it right on top of my house. And I hope that it lands right on my head so that I don't have to deal with none of the bullshit that comes after that, because it really does bother me. It's a real serious thing. It probably will lead, in my opinion, I believe that that's what's going to end human beings. It won't be climate change, because I don't even know if we're going to last that long. I'm just telling y'all the truth. I hate being a pessimist, but that's what I'm honestly seeing, because it's really a mess. I don't know if you guys know the Russians, who are allies with the Iranians. The Russians and the Chinese are allies with the Iranians, and basically the Russians have developed. So when you mess with Iran, you're messing with China, you're messing with Russia, you're messing with their interests. It's all about the oil and everything else, all the resources in the Middle East. Well, if you mess with Iran, then you're messing with Russia. Well, why is messing with Russia a bad thing? Can Russia kick our ass in a war? We'd probably win the war. But the thing about war is that there are no winners when there's war. There's only death, there's only chaos, there's only destruction. And the other thing about Russia is that they actually are ahead of the United States when it comes to the development of hypersonic nuclear missiles. Hypersonic, you've heard of supersonic. The Seattle Supersonics. There used to be a rap song, Supersonic. Remember that? No, this is actually hypersonic. Hypersonic missiles basically are twice as fast as standard intercontinental ballistic missiles that the United States has. So the Russians are actually ahead of the United States in the development of hypersonic nuclear missiles, which means that they could launch that son of a bitch and it could hit us before we even know that the damn thing's coming. Like literally, like it's like, oh wait, there's a nuke coming. Oh my God. By that time, everybody's dead in whatever city they hit. So this is real. This is not a bunch of BS. This is not a joke. This is not anything to laugh about. And I'm reaching out to my friend Asha Castleberry, who is a national security expert, and I'm gonna get her to come on drboycetv.com so that she can actually explain and break down what's really happening right now. So here's what's also the most recent development in this whole situation with Iran. I'm gonna pull the story up. If you could, please hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please do that. Also, if you want to get text notifications when we go live, all you got to do is text the word Boyce to the number 31996. Somebody type that in, 31996. Just text Boyce to 31996, and I'll let you know when we go live a couple of times a week. I won't text you too much, but just maybe 2-3 times a week. All right, so basically the eulogist at the funeral procession for General Qasem Soleimani, I hope I said it right. Maybe I didn't say it right, but I said the best I could. Forgive my ignorance here. He placed an $80 million bounty on President Donald Trump's head on live state TV, according to Al Arabiya. However, contrary to some reports, the government of Iran itself did not place the bounty on Trump's head. Two sites that have reported the bounty, Bild, a German news site, and Al Arabiya English, a Saudi Arabian platform, have made the report. So basically, he said, we are 80 million Iranians. If each one of us puts aside $1 American, we will have 80 million American dollars, and we will reward anyone who brings us Trump's head with that amount, he said to a crowd in Mashhad, according to Al Arabiya, which added that the funeral procession was being broadcast live on Iran's channel one as the eulogist made his proposal. According to the Financial Times, another speaker in Mashhad told the massive crowds, "We shall see the uprooting of the U.S. in the region. You crazy yellow-haired man, Trump, listen carefully. Down with the U.S., you Israelis, we will send you death. Every single drop of our tears will turn into a missile in your land." So basically, Iran is really, really pissed off right now. I'm going to ask you guys a question. Give me a yes or no. Do you agree? I mean, a lot of this recent uproar was stimulated by Trump's decision to kill a high-ranking military official in Iran. He was actually in Iraq at the time, and they did a drone strike and took him out. General Qasem Soleimani. Do you agree with that move? Do you think that, because from what I understand, that was in response to some attacks or they claim that it's in response to an attack that was made against us. So it's like, you killed a bunch of ours, we're going to kill one of yours. And then now it's sort of escalating. Now they're saying, okay, we're going to counterattack. And there was a terrorist attack actually in Kenya recently. I don't know if anybody read about that, but the American embassy in Kenya, let me Google that real quick. Let's see here. So the American embassy in Kenya, if I'm not mistaken, there was a terrorist attack. So Kenya says its military killed 4 terrorists as Al-Shabaab claims attack on U.S. base. So CNN, this is reported in CNN today. It says Kenya's military said it killed at least 4 terrorists Sunday in repelling an attack on an airstrip located near a U.S. military base. A U.S. senior member and 2 civilian contractors working for the Defense Department were killed in the attack. In a statement, Kenya's defense forces said there had been an attempt to breach security at Manda airstrip, which is near the Camp Simba U.S. base, but it had been successfully repulsed. 4 terrorist bodies have been found so far. Al-Qaeda affiliate Al-Shabaab claimed responsibility for the attack in Lamu County near Kenya's border with Somalia. U.S. Africa Command, which is responsible for military relations with nations on the continent, said Africa Command and Kenya Defense Forces repelled the attack. Africa Command later reported the U.S. deaths. So it looks like it wasn't so bad so far, right? It looks like this situation was kind of handled. But I'll tell you this, I'm real concerned about the amount of anger that you see from the Iranian people from this attack. I think that Trump is fulfilling what I thought he was eventually going to do. If you look at Trump's disposition, he's an angry, combative kind of person, right? He likes to fight. And somebody like that, that you put him in a position of power, it's almost like clockwork. He's going to start a war. Now, what's fascinating, I don't know if you guys noticed, but does anybody remember that Trump, and I put it on my Facebook page and my Instagram. My Instagram is The Real Boyce Watkins. So feel free to follow me on Instagram at The Real Boyce Watkins. That basically Trump actually accused Obama. Trump was actually accusing Obama of attacking Iran. I don't know if you remember, but Trump actually said several times that he felt Obama was going to attack Iran in order to support his reelection campaign. I don't know if you saw that or not, but I find that really fascinating that he says that, because that almost sounds like projection. Because as we know, Obama did a lot of stuff that you can criticize. I mean, I don't think Obama was a perfect president, but one thing Obama did not do was he did not attack Iran, as Trump said. And the fact that Trump repeatedly stated that Obama was likely going to attack Iran in order to trump up his reelection bid, that's, to me, that almost sounds like projecting, right? Like you in a relationship and somebody keeps accusing you of cheating, even though you ain't cheating. Well, that usually means they cheating. And they're thinking, well, why else would you go to somebody's hotel room alone, right, at 2 o'clock in the morning? Well, I mean, then you'd be like, well, why were you in so and so's room alone? So is that what you're thinking? Is that what you think that you're supposed to do if you go to somebody, right? So basically, I don't think that the theory that Trump is using the attack on Iran to get reelected, that's not off base. Because typically what I've seen, again, I'm not being a political analyst here. I'm going to bring Asha Castleberry in to kind of give more detailed analysis. But, if Trump is able, Trump is the kind of guy, and I've analyzed his personality a lot. He is a narcissist. He definitely has some sort of disorder. It's clearly, I think narcissism is clearly there, among some other things. And a guy like him doesn't like to be challenged. Right? A guy like him doesn't like to hear any voice in the room other than his own. A guy like him doesn't really operate or function well in a democracy. And what makes it even worse is that America is not just a democracy. We are a dysfunctional democracy. We're a dysfunctional democracy in the sense that all the things that we thought were healthy checks and balances in the government to keep the government functioning are actually the things that are breaking the government down. Right? Very combative. Nobody lets anything move forward if it's coming from the other party, and that's actually going to hurt the American people long term. That's also going to destroy our country if the nukes don't do it first. So Trump is a guy who I think dreams of a dictatorship. Like, I think Trump looks at what Hitler did. If you go back and you study what Hitler did in Nazi Germany and how he basically eliminated rival parties. He eliminated all opposition. He eliminated, anybody that was going to challenge his authority so that he could then go pursue the vision that he had for Germany, which is actually, if you really go study it, it's actually a little more nuanced than people make it out to be, right? They make it out like it's one thing, like Hitler was one type of guy. And honestly, a lot of what you learned about that whole regime was propaganda. So I encourage you to kind of learn it from different perspectives and points of view, so that not so you can walk away thinking Hitler's a good person. I'm not saying that at all, but so you can really understand what was really happening. Because let's just be clear, in the United States, certain people control media, and you know who I'm talking about, and those individuals who control media only want you to have certain kinds of information. That's what they do during war. So the reason I think Trump wants this war is because I think it will give him the ability to implement martial law, to implement a type of authoritarianism that allows him to operate in a unilateral fashion. During war, the president tends to become very popular. Whoever the president is. When Bush was in the war in Iraq and that war first started, Bush's popularity went through the roof until people slowly but surely started to lose confidence in the war. And I think that for Trump, you're going to see his approval rating rise. It actually has been rising, not just because number one, fear tends to just bring people together. It really does. I mean, the Jewish community actually unified. They were actually very divided, believe it or not, but they unified when Hitler came along and scared the shit out of them, right? So in America, when there's a war and we're all afraid of Iran and we've been fed the boogeyman through media, you'll see a unification. You'll see people unify behind the leader, no matter who the leader is. And I think with this going into an election year, that's the crazy, unfortunate part. The other part of it is obviously economic. The United States has always created many billionaires off of the American war machine. The American war machine is it's an embarrassment for our country. As Malcolm X talks about chickens coming home to roost, when he talks about chickens coming home to roost, what he was basically saying is that this violence that you're pushing out into the world, it's eventually going to come back to get you. It's eventually going to come back to make you pay a price for that. And I think that the United States is a country that, because of our addiction to excessive capitalism, it is causing us to use our military almost like hired security guards or hired hitmen to go around the world and to basically beat people up and take their lunch money. That's what Obama did to Gaddafi, right? Let's just be real. Let's keep it 100. I know some of y'all love Obama, and I know it hurts your feelings, but y'all know I got to tell the truth about these politicians. What Obama did to Gaddafi appeared, from what I saw, quite unnecessary. It was quite ridiculous. He went and attacked this man, and when this man was working to unify Africa in a way that Africa would have appreciated. So ultimately, at the end of the day, all these presidents, unfortunately, are subjected to the whims of the military war machine, which is driven by the capitalism. So the capitalism doesn't just give us a desire to start wars, but it also gives us a capacity to win wars, because America also happens to have exceedingly high industrial capacity. So when we fight a war, we're able to produce more tanks, more guns, more jeeps, more whatever than the enemy, more planes. Like, we can just mass produce them. That your planes might be better, but for every one plane you have, we have 10, right? And that's what the United States does very, very well. And that's why the United States became one of the richest countries in the world. And I want to say thank you very much, Louise, for your contribution. I appreciate it. Somebody else made a contribution. I totally missed it. And if you are that person, I am so sorry. Please forgive me for not saying your name. My apologies. I'm actually scrolling down. Here we go. Frances Johnson. Thank you, Frances, for your donation. She says, thank you, sir. I'm a pet consultant with Nivitica, your pet's choice. We offer pet vitamins and hygiene products. And the website is nevitica.shop/fun4pets. And that's the number 4. Okay, so Nivitica.shop/fun4pets. Okay, Francis, my little tip for you, sister, is I would find a shorter URL. Get a shorter URL that can be said and people aren't going to misspell it. Because, like, if you do a radio interview, if you say your URL and it's complicated, people are going to miss it. So, like, for example, when I go on the Breakfast Club and I'm thinking about what URL I want to recite that people are not going to misspell or forget, I will come up with the simplest URL I can find and link it to where I want to go. So you may want to go buy your URL and redirect it to your website so that you can actually get, if somebody asks you what your website is, you can just say it and they won't misspell it, because you don't want to lose customers that way. So that's a little free business tip for you guys. And actually, guys, if you guys want to participate in any of our good courses in the Black Business School, we have a new class called How to Sell and Make Money. You can go to howtosellandmakemoney.com. That's howtosellandmakemoney.com. We basically break down the principles of how people make money, how people get rich in America and around the world. So it applies for anybody that lives anywhere globally. So you can go to howtosellandmakemoney.com. That's where we break it all down. And you can get a certificate from the program. Also, you can get a 30% discount. Use the code word podcast because you're on the podcast. So use the code word podcast at howtosellandmakemoney.com. All right. So let me see here. Hit the thumbs up button. Hit the thumbs up button. Thank you, Dinas Muhammad, for your donation. He says this war can break this economy. It was barely recovered from Bush. That's interesting. That's a good point. I don't know if the war is going to hurt the economy or help it. You saw a dip in the stock market when the war drum started beating. And that dip makes sense given that, the start of war presents uncertainty. It presents risk. Risk, according to financial valuation models, risk tends to reduce stock prices because it just doesn't, it creates an uncertain environment. When the environment's uncertain, the prices of most assets tend to drop, right? So the dip might be good, GTM. It could be good, but it could be bad, right? It could be the start of something worse economically. I mean, I think a prolonged war would be bad, for the economy. However, there's a lot of industrialization that occurs during war. There are lots of people that want war because they can get wealthy over war. And actually, during World War II, that boom of the war in World War II actually pulled us out of the Great Depression, right? So war isn't always a bad thing economically. War can actually be pretty good. Somebody, let's see, Sean's mentioning buy gold. Yeah, the price of gold tends to go up when uncertainty's high. So in fact, I'm going to Google this real quick. Hit the thumbs up button while I do this. I'm going to look this up. Let me see what the price of gold did. I wouldn't be surprised if it went up. I know the price of oil went up. I know that went up. Whenever there's any volatility in the Middle East, the price of oil always goes up because the supply is going down. I don't see anything that shows that the price of gold. Let me see here. There's an ETF I buy with the ticker symbol GLD. ETFs are exchange traded funds. Um, and ETF, or excuse me, the ETF GLD went up 1.3% yesterday. Yeah, so that doesn't surprise me. It's gone up quite a bit this week. Let me see. I'm gonna share my screen. If you're on the Black Financial Channel, you'll see my screen. The URL is theblackfinancialchannel.com if you want to get financial news, daily financial news from a black perspective. So you can see here on this chart. You guys on Dr. Boyce TV can't see this, so I'll just say it out loud for you guys. I'm on two cameras right now. You see at the beginning of the week, the price of the GLD ETF, which is a Spider Gold Trust, which is basically highly correlated with the price of gold, basically. So if you want to buy gold, you don't actually have to buy gold. You could just buy the exchange traded fund that represents the movement in the price of gold. And so here you see it dropped to or is at 142.28, and now it's up to, it hit 146 later in the week. Let's see, let's go back 6 months, year to date. Let's go back 1 year. So you see at the beginning of the year, January 2019, a year ago, it was at 121. So, this ETF has gone up slowly over time for various reasons. I have to go research that. But, the price of gold tends to do better when there is any sort of uncertainty because, well, for various reasons. I won't go into all the details. But long story short, I think that this whole bounty on Trump's head is kind of interesting. It kind of reflects the irritation and the anger from the Iranian government. My expectation is that there'll be a proportional response to this. I don't think they're going to just, haul out the nuclear weapons to attack the United States, because I don't think they want to die either. But I think that the challenge of fighting a war in the Middle East is that, in some cultures, there's a reward in heaven waiting for you if you die for a noble cause, right? So you have that complexity of fighting people who are not afraid to die. Americans, we're very wealthy, we're very comfortable, we're not living where the bombs are being dropped. So for us, war is kind of a game. And what I am really, fretting for or kind of worrying about is the day where war is no longer a game for us, where war actually becomes real. And I think that just as black people, obviously these are white folks issues, right? White folks did this. The Iranians, they know the difference between white and black people. I know people like Minister Louis Farrakhan have a very good relationship with Iran, and I have no reason to dislike the Iranian people. In fact, if you look throughout history, you'll see where the CIA and FBI, again, those white folks, same white folks that did COINTELPRO and all that other shit, they did some pretty horrible things in Iran. They actually propped up certain governments in Iran to the point where they hated the United States. They've done some horrible things to other countries and put your name on it, right? In your name, in the name of the country that you live in. And so it's kind of a tough paradox to be black in the middle of this, because black folks that I know are sort of like, look, I don't want any parts of this shit. Like I didn't do this. Like I don't want to attack Iran. I don't dislike Iran. And as much as you want to separate yourself from the actions of the government, the actions of Donald Trump, the reality is that if a bomb hits the United States, it's gonna hit everybody. It ain't gonna miss the black people. The bomb is not gonna go around your house just because you black. Because at the end of the day, the argument for many people, and this was an argument made during World War II, when the bombing of Dresden and things like that, and the bombing of Hiroshima and whatever, what the argument was, you might think the civilians are separate from the government, but the civilians are the ones who support the government. The civilians are the ones who prop up the government. The civilians are the ones who pay taxes to the government that allows the government to go do those things, right? So just by virtue of the fact, some would argue that by virtue of the fact that you're paying the taxes, that you're not rebelling against the system, your fate will be connected to their fate. And so with that being said, my number one hope is that somehow these idiots in Washington gain some wisdom, because I think they're all a bunch of damn idiots. I really do. I think all of them are stupid, not just Trump. Trump's stupid, but he's a stupid man in a stupid space. Washington is a bunch of dumb sons of bitches. I don't tell me if you agree. Like I'm annoyed with Congress. I'm annoyed with the executive branch. I'm annoyed with the Supreme Court. I just think all these people are conspiring to destroy this country, and I don't want us to destroy the country in which I live. But I also will say this to you. This is something I want to give you a little tip on. Nomalanga Mushali Moses. Nomalanga came on my channel last week. She lives in South Africa. She's running the South Africa office for the Black Business School that we're opening up in Johannesburg. It'll be ready in a couple months. I'll let you guys know when. And Nomalanga was making a very good point where she said that every black person in America should have a passport. Every black person in America should have a passport. And I agree with that 100%. I encourage you guys to get your passports, have it ready, because there's no guarantee that you're always going to feel comfortable living in the United States. There's no guarantee that the country can't take a rapid turn to the left, because it is being run by a man who could be considered to be a tyrant. And I know it's scary for some of you, because a lot of us grew up, I don't know about you, but a lot of us grew up not even be able to think outside our own city. I remember growing up thinking it was a big deal to drive from Kentucky to Tennessee, right? And I didn't take my first international trip till I was 35 years old. But now, since I pushed myself outside that boundary, I now realize that, flying to other countries is not much different from flying to another city, and there are lots of places around the world you can live and still live a very comfortable lifestyle. You guys saw me. I like to share these trips with you guys in hopes that it'll support, help you guys become more informed about what's happening in the world. I'm not flossing, stunting, bragging. I'm not trying to brag about shit. I'm proud to be a successful black man. Don't get me wrong. Shit, I don't want to be no damn loser. How am I going to be a guide to you if I'm a fucking loser? I don't want to be a loser. But at the same time, I don't think I'm better than anybody in here. In fact, I admire every single one of you, because it's a Sunday. You could be doing a million things, but you're here right now, which tells me that you are the reason I exist. So I will never ever think that I'm above you. So I want to make that abundantly clear. But I share those experiences because I'm learning too. I'm growing too. I went to Kenya was on my mind, but I went to Ghana, and I was sharing that because I was ashamed of the fact that I don't know enough about my own damn continent, the continent that I own. In addition to this continent, I own this one, but I also own a continent across the sea where I've got 1.2 billion people who are my allies, my family members, my relatives, my play cousins, my loved ones that I've been disconnected from for 400 years. I want to learn about them too. I also want to go to Brazil because I've learned about my loved ones down there, who 110 million strong, who are being ignored because they're being so oppressed by the white folks down there that they want you to think they don't exist. So I'm not sitting here trying to tell you that you're not American. I'm not telling you that you're not ADOS or FBA or anything that you believe that you are. You're all of those things. We're all of those things, but you can also be other things too. So I'm not telling you to cut off any part of who you are. I'm telling you to just expand who you are so that you'll be ready. Like they say, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. So to me, staying ready means have that passport cocked and ready to squeeze just in case Trump really starts tripping. If Trump really starts tripping and it implements martial law, shit will get flipped on its head. You will see a country that is unidentifiable relative to the country that you think you know. All these liberties that you think you have, all this social integration, all this progress you think you've made will disappear overnight if there is just one attack. All it would take is one attack, one 9/11, one bomb hitting the shores of the United States, one incident, one terrorist attack, before they use that as an excuse to shut down everybody and everything and kill every liberty that you hold dear, even to the point of shutting down your and my right to even talk about things on the internet. That's what they're looking forward to trying to do. So you cannot tell me, for example, that there have not been efforts, false flag operations done just so certain politicians could gain control of what Americans are allowed to do. Because this whole thing, this whole liberty and freedom thing, it gets in the way of people that are determined to have power and control. Hitler did a false flag operation in order to gain control of the German government so that he could implement the plan that he had and not have to listen to the opposition. So if Hitler did that 50, 60, 70 years ago, you don't think Donald Trump can do the same damn thing? Come on now. Come on now, that man's a weirdo. That man's messed up. Do I have dual citizenship, Droney? Thank you for your donation. No, I do not yet. Someone in Ghana said that they would work on getting me dual citizenship and or a passport, a Ghanaian passport. It didn't happen, but I'm gonna follow back up again, and maybe it'll happen. But I'm hoping if they offer it to me, I'm gonna take it because I love Ghana. But I'm also gonna go to some other countries as well because I want to learn about all the black people everywhere. Because I'm really excited actually seeing how big the world is and knowing that the world is much bigger than the U.S. and Donald Trump. Seriously, I mean, the world's bigger than Donald Trump, so you got to keep that in mind. All right, guys, so do me a favor. Please hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. I'm about to bounce up out of here. And also, last but not least, this week we got some stuff coming up. We got a great seminar on wait, no, they already did the hotel ownership seminar. There's another one coming up. I can't remember the rest. But anyway, if you want to learn about some of our events coming up, I'm coming to New Orleans in a couple of weeks. But we'll actually have a live stream available. It's sold out, so there are no tickets available, so you can't actually come to the event. The event's totally sold out, but we're going to set up a live stream there, and I'll let you guys know about that. And then there's some other things happening. I'll be in Alabama for the AG Gaston conference and a few other things. So if you want to learn more about what we're up to, go to drboyceseminars.com. That's drboyceseminars.com. Thank you, Steve Jennings. I see you. I see you, and I thank you for your support. And also, last but not least, if you want to support the growth of intelligent black media, plus get lots of free stuff, please go to intelligentblackpeople.com. That's intelligentblackpeople.com. Please hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe, and notification bell before you bounce out. I will see you guys soon. Have a great day. Talk to you later. Peace.